fall is an ideal time to transplant our spring and early summer blooming perennials in the garden. It's also a good time to divide these plants that have become overcrowded, plants like daylily, pulmonaria, or veronica. We have a number of plants in our studio gardens that need to be moved from one location to another for various reasons. For example, the gooseneck loosestrife behind us is in a location that was once sunny, but it's now covered in shade. We also have plants that are in an area that was once shady, but it's now in full sun. The heuchera, ferns, and pulmonaria in this bed were once shaded by the pecan tree above us, but due to some storm damage, we need to remove the tree, which is going to leave this area fully exposed. So I need to dig these plants and bring them to a new home. I like to do my transplanting in the fall. It has several advantages. The main one is that these plants will continue to produce roots as long as the soil temperature is 40 degrees or higher. So if we move them now, that gives them about 6 months to establish roots and become established before the heat of next summer sets in. Also, this time of year, the weather is more predictably cool, and those cool temperatures reduce transplant shock. Now, before I dig these plants up out of the ground, I want to prepare their new home in a shady location. It's a good idea to loosen the soil in your new planting site, turning it either with a garden fork, or you can till the location depending on if there's trees nearby or what the site is like. As we turn the soil, it loosens it up, which will help the plants better send out their roots. But also we can look at it and see how healthy it looks. If there's a lot of clay or even sand, we might choose to mix in a bit of compost. And I brought some compost to turn in here. With clay soils, compost helps to loosen it up, while with sand, it adds more surface area for moisture to bind. So we actually get better drainage in clay soils, but we get better water retention in our sandy soils. Turn this compost in with your fork, and then you can prepare some holes ahead of time for your plants that we're going to bring in here. Turn your compost into the soil with a fork, and then you can prepare your holes, dig some holes for the plants. Well, now we're ready to go and dig our plants up out of the ground. We transplant by simply digging the entire plant up out of the ground, and I like to work in a broad circle around the plant. We want to maintain as large of a soil ball around the roots as we can. Now, with larger perennials, you might need to cut back the foliage by up to 2/3. What this will do is reduce the amount of foliage that's putting a water draw on the root system. Once you've dug the plant, see I have a nice root ball here. We're going to lift this out of the ground, and I always bring a bucket to transplant with. Now we're ready to adjust the size of our planting holes back in our shady location. Now that I've dug the plant, I can look at the root ball and visualize the size that I need my planting hole to be. Now, some of these are a little small. It's always easiest to adjust once we've dug our plant and we can see how wide it wants to be. We want our hole to be about 2 times the width of the roots. And these pulmonaria have a pretty expansive root system that I'm going to want to spread out a little bit, but not too deep. We want the final plant to be at the same level it was to begin with, so I've gone a little deep here. I'm going to backfill and spread these roots outward so that they spread. We're going to bring it up a little higher. Sometimes I like to make a little mound in the center, and that's where I could set the center underneath the crown underneath that. Okay, and we're going to backfill around the plant. Again, trying to maintain that same soil level as our surroundings. As with any plant, we're going to want to water this in thoroughly once we've finished. Let me dig that set down a little bit farther. And a good layer of mulch will help protect the plant over the winter. About 3 inches will help protect it. It'll also help keep some of that soil moisture in. The plants might need a little bit of extra water in the first week or two as they're settling into their new home, but be careful not to overwater. That's a common problem with transplants in the landscape. We don't want to drown them. This time of year, we don't want to fertilize our plants. We're going to wait until spring, and then we can fertilize our newly transplanted pulmonaria.